morning, children. Welcome to your social studies class. In today's social studies class, we are going to start a new chapter from your book. The name of the chapter is Chapter 8, Our Beautiful Country. So the chapter is Our Beautiful Country and it is chapter number 8. In this chapter, we are going to talk about India and its diversity in the physical features. Now, children, first of all, you need to know about landforms. You have definitely seen, at least in picture, the pictures of hills or mountains. You have also seen the pictures of desert or plateaus or oceans and rivers, etc. There are different landforms in our country. We can find high hills in our country. We can find plateaus in our country. There is a desert in our country and there is also plains in our country. So there are different variety of landform present in our country. And these all types of landforms have made our country very diverse. So these different types of landforms have created the physical feature of our country. The physical features of our country is so unique that it is very interesting to learn about. Our India country is divided physically in 6 divisions. There are 6 physical divisions of our country. Let's look at them. Number 1, the northern mountains. The northern mountains. From the very name, you can understand that these mountains are situated in the north. Now, second, the northern plains. The northern plains are just below the northern mountain. That is also in the north direction. The Great Indian Desert. We have a desert in our country. The name of the desert is Thar Desert. It is in Rajasthan. So, the Great Indian Desert. Next, we have the Peninsular Plateau. The Peninsular Plateau. The southern part of our country is a peninsula and it is plateau. So, it is called Peninsular Plateau. Next, we have the coastal region. The coastal region. You know that our country is surrounded by different seas and oceans. So our country has coastal areas and that forms the coastal region. Lastly, we have the island region. There are many islands on the Arabian Ocean, Arabian Sea and in the Bay of Bengal. Andaman and Nicobar Island and Lakshadweep. These are the island region of our country. So these 6 divisions are the 6 physical divisions of our country. Now in today's class, we are going to discuss some of them in details. Now we will talk about the first 3 divisions. They are the northern mountains, the northern plains and the Great Indian Desert. Now children, I have drawn the direction-wise position of the three divisions. Look carefully. This is north, this is south, this is east and this is west. Now, in our country, in the very northern part is where we can find the northern mountains. So, in this region, we can find the northern mountains. Next, just below that, we have the northern plains stretching from the west side to the east. Most of the northeastern part is covered with northern plains. And then in the northwestern part, in the state of Rajasthan, we have Great Indian Desert called Thar. So this is somewhat the positions of the northern mountain, the northern plain and the Thar desert. Now we will talk about them. The first thing is the northern mountains. The northern mountains are situated in the topmost northern part of our country, stretching from Kashmir to Arunachal Pradesh. Now the northern part of our country is completely occupied with northern mountains. Now the special things that we have to remember is that first there are three mountain ranges: Himalayas, the Karakoram and the northeastern range. So there are mainly three mountain ranges: the Himalayas, the Karakoram and the northeastern range. Now among them, Himalayas is the highest mountain range in the whole world. And you know that Mount Everest of Himalayas is the highest mountain peak in the world, but it is in Nepal. It's not in India. Now, the next thing is that most of the time throughout the year, the top peaks of the mountains are always covered with white snow. And sometimes the snow becomes water, and that water becomes the rivers that flow in the northern part of our India and also in Pakistan and Tibet. So the snow melts down and it creates water, and this snow melted down water creates the rivers. The rivers like Ganga, Indus, Brahmaputra. Ganga, Indus, Brahmaputra. These three major rivers can be mentioned, and these three major rivers were created from the snow melted waters of the northern mountains. They are all perennial rivers. Perennial rivers are those rivers where we can find water throughout the year. So this was the second point to remember. Now, thick forest in the lower slope. As I have told you, the top part of the mountain range is always covered with thick, dense snow. But the lower slopes of the mountains are covered with thick, dense forest. And these forests are really have variety of flora and fauna. Now, what is flora and fauna? Flora and fauna are the different types of variety of vegetations and animals, insects, birds that can be found in this region. So the topmost part is always covered with snow and the lower slopes are covered with thick dense forest. So this is the northern mountains. This was all about northern mountains. Now we will talk about the the northern plains. Now we will talk about the northern plains. The rivers that have been created from the meltdown water of the northern mountains, that are the Ganga, Indus, Brahmaputra, these three rivers mainly flow through this northern plain. And these three rivers make the land very fertile. So the northern plain has very fertile soil. Farmers can grow variety of crops here. Why is the soil fertile? Because of the three major rivers that are flowing through this region: Ganga, Indus, Brahmaputra. Now the northern plain is stretching from the western part to the eastern part of our country. This is a huge area, and most of North India and East India is inside this northern plain. The northern and the eastern India fall in this category. Now the first point is fertile soil, that the soil is very fertile. Farmers can grow different types of crops. And the second point is most populated. Now this northern plain area is so fertile that from the very old times, various types of people started to live in this part. And in today's world, this part of our country is the most populated part. So most of the people live in this area because of the fertile soil, availability of water, and various other potentials. So this was northern plains. Now we will talk about Great Indian Desert. The Great Indian Desert is the third desert that we can find in our country in the state of Rajasthan. The Great Indian Desert lies in the northwestern part of our country. It lies mainly in the state of Rajasthan and it is popularly known as the third desert. From the word desert, you can definitely understand that there is no vegetation available. There is very little rainfall in this area. So, trees and crops cannot be grown in this area. The area is full of sand. There is no water available to drink. That is very hard to get water to drink. And there is another point that the days in the desert is very hot, whereas the nights in the desert are very cold. And very less population is the last point, that is very less amount of people live in this region. This is not suitable for living. So very less amount of people can be found living in this region. Another thing is sheep of desert. Which animal is called sheep of desert? Yes, the camels. The camels are the only means of transport in these areas. Because of the hot sand, nobody can walk on the hot sand. Only camels can endure such hotness. So camels are found in this area and they are one of the main mode of transport in the third desert. So this was about Great Indian Desert. I hope you have understood these three divisions. Please read your book. That will help you. I will end my class here. I will meet you in my next class.